The Sainsbury Centre is on the campus of the University of East Anglia, near Norwich. It's a building which was built in the 1970s, and it's a celebration of the arts. Originally, that building was conceived as being 2 or 3 buildings, and it ends up as one. We were able to demonstrate that it would be socially, academically, intellectually, visually more important to bring together everybody under one roof. It's almost like a train, if you think about it, because you can isolate carriages along the way and you can enter them separately. So they have their own identity, but they can all work together. So it was very much about flexibility. The materials of Sainsbury was steel and glass. It had an expressed, very economical lattice steel structure. The lattice steel structure is the roof, it's coming down to the walls. It's creating spaces for the secondary activities, bathrooms, kitchens, mechanical plant, which is enabling that flexible loft space to be free of clutter. It was our first breathing building. It wasn't a hermetically sealed box with kind of pulsing air conditioning, refrigeration. It was truly the first breathing, naturally ventilated building, filtered air, working with the climate, reducing energy. So it was a very early exercise in sustainability in the 1970s. And the idea that high culture could coexist with an industrial aesthetic, again, that was the shock of the new. I always describe any building like the tip of an iceberg. You just see the building. What you don't see is this great volume below the surface, which is the process. And that process is far from perfect. It's not linear, and it does have its crisis moments. I remember Steve Jobs on Apple saying, every good project has its crisis, and we must learn from the crisis. A crisis, for example, on the Sainsbury Centre. I remember we had all these beautiful models of a portal frame with the skin on the outside and the inner membrane and the structure really quite shallow. And then the kind of awful moment of putting bathrooms, kitchens, and the only place it could go was in this pristine main space. And at that point, realizing that if that portal frame became a big truss that you could walk through and adjust the lighting, and that it would embrace, dissolve all those embarrassing secondary spaces, the bathrooms, the kitchens, the mechanical equipment. And I remember Tony Hunt, the structural engineer, advanced on all the production drawings for the portal frame. And I remember having to sit down with Tony and say, Tony, we're going to change it. And showing him what I thought was the direction we had to go. I remember Tony saying, Norman, you can't do it. That's going to be your next building. And I said, Tony, there may not be another building. And Tony, being the great engineer and being the extraordinary individual, in the end said, I get it. You know, it's a better building. We've got to do it. And so everybody bought in.